Times, we publish about 300 different articles a day. And in this visualization, we're seeing hundreds of thousands of unique articles being viewed every hour. So there's this huge kind of long tail of behavior and use cases around our content that is not that kind of main, I want to see the news that's important to me today. That's about evergreen content. It's about things in the archive. It's about things that we published 2 months ago. And by looking at data in this way, by not kind of losing all of that when we aggregate it and look at the things that bubble up as trends, that we can start to really understand all of those different behaviors about why people want to read the Times, what kinds of reasons they're coming to us for. What we have here is on the left is a simple text editor, and on the right's a visualization of what's happening. It's emitting every word and phrase that the writer is writing onto this network. And those services, when they think they know something about something in that text and they can mark it up, they send that information back, and that gets reflected in the interface of the text editor. Those words and phrases get highlighted. And so what this allows us to do is that this information starts to get highlighted as someone is writing. And then at the end of the process, you can just go back through as you would go back through a grammar check or a spelling check. And you can see what those suggestions were. You can correct them. You can see what other suggestions were. You can verify that, remove it. You can also add annotations that only a person would know, like this is a key point, or this is a pull quote, or this is a headline or a byline. And so you can imagine if you have a whole article that's marked up in this way, like this piece that we did about finding good coffee in New York, and that you could publish that article as you normally would. But you could also take things that were identified as key points in that article, and those could be used to populate bullet points on a mobile app like NYT Now. Or you could take all of the locations that were mentioned in that article, in this case, all those coffee shops, and you could build an interactive map on top of it. Or you could take information about one of those locations, and you could create a contextual alert on a wearable device. And so if we continue to take the approach of creating each of these manifestations as a separate creative work, that quickly becomes redundant and unsustainable. But if we can do things like this that piggyback on top of that existing process of writing an article to create not just that article, but this substrate of structured news content, then we can start to use that to create many, many different manifestations of that content, only one of which is the traditional article. And when I say virtuosity, what I mean is the ability to use a technology expressively. So Edward Tenner, in his book, Our Own Devices, talks about the difference between technology, which are the structures and devices and systems that we use, and technique, which is how we use them. So he uses shoelaces as an example, which I love because it's this incredibly simple technology, but there are varieties of lacings for specific activities like hiking or football. There are lacings that indicate military association or country of origin. Apparently, Europeans and Americans do it differently. And color or style of shoelace can indicate everything from cultural affiliation to gang membership. So shoelaces are these things that are adapted for needs that range from functional optimization to social signaling. And it's a simple technology that contains the affordance for all kinds of skilled techniques that become deeply embedded into processes and culture. So it's not just about being able to adapt something to one's needs, but being able to play a system with skill and expressiveness. And this is what I think we should aspire to.